Gentlemen and female gentlemen, we are diving into solo leveling lore. That's right, solo leveling is taking the internet by storm. Everyone's loving the schmibbles out of it. So today we are looking at every single S-rank hunter. Some of this will be a blind reaction, because I think we're going to be covering some from the manhwa, so spoiler warning, I guess. We are doing a ranking of every S-rank hunter from the weakest to the strongest according to Yassine. Yassine is a YouTuber that does power scaling videos. I've seen them on my recommended a couple of times, and I remember them being good. So anyway, I'm excited. This is going to be like a review analysis, a lore dive into every S-rank in solo leveling, and also from weakest to strongest. Hell yeah, baby. Let's dive into it. If you want more of these, either power scaling or lore dives into individual bits of anime, let me know. All right, let's see what we got. Spoiler
With the
alert.
newest released episodes of Solo Leveling Season 2 that heavily focuses on preparing for the Jeju Island raid that requires the usage of more than 10 S-rank hunters from two different countries, I decided today to rank all of these top hunters from around the world from weakest to absolute strongest.
Dude, I wonder if anyone, even in the novel, if anyone passes Sung Jin-woo. Oh my god. And like, I wonder if anyone's gonna even pass him, dude.
We'd be considering every encounter, feats and statements from both the light novel and the webtoon to try to somehow.
So we are going way ahead. All right, baby, I'm ready. How are you gonna introduce characters even more busted than the characters we already have? Like, dude, that guy with the fire powers, holy lorbnits, he drops nukes on the island from orbit.
Have a concrete solid ranking list. However, pay in mind that some characters are very interchangeable and matchup dependent, since at the end of the day, these are mages that have different classes, therefore completely different
Valid, that's valid. Different, 100%. That is valid.
Specialties and purposes. For example, I'd certainly be willing to side with the fighter class rather than a mage in a 1v1 confrontation for obviously being much superior and proficient in close range combat.
That's
but
valid.
if we're talking about clearing a dungeon, a mage in my opinion would have a much better rate of succeeding with minimum casualties.
Yeah, obviously there's gonna be different advantages in 100%. You're definitely gonna have different advantages in different scenarios. But as far as like an overarching, this is just how classes work in literally everything.
So these classes would play a major role at determining the placements of some of these characters.
Okay.
Second thing I need to note is that this list would only include S-rank hunters from the original manhwa/light novel of Solo Leveling, which means I'm not going to include Ragnarok in this equation. I'm certainly well
Okay, so no super spoilers, I guess.
aware that Shahai-in received a huge buff from being with Jinwoo, but I'm only gonna place her based on what we've seen and read from the original series. Now, with all of this being said, let's now start with ranking these 31 S-rank hunters.
31 S-ranks, baby. Oh my god, I'm ready. How are they gonna fucking top these guys? Like the people we've already seen. Like, I don't know, man. That human flamethrower guy has got to be at the top. Every time I see that guy fight, it's insane. Dude's sitting in a helicopter blowtorching an entire island. Alright, the question is though, will Sung Jin-woo be #1 or only top 5? That's the question. Hell yeah, dude. Alright.
Now, starting off with characters that cannot be properly scaled due to either being in a class that doesn't entail fighting, aka healers, or not enough feats.
Yeah, you can include healers, I suppose.
Or statements to exactly know where they should fall at. Healers generally serve as support hunters, staying behind to heal or protect other combatants.
Yeah, but the crazy shit about healers, it's like they can like regrow limbs and shit. Some of these guys are busted.
They surely are very useful to minimize casualties and allowing others to engage without much worries, since they can even regenerate limbs multiple times and give them a huge buff, lifting overall abilities to a further level. But
dude, that is healing. That is crazy healing. Most healing is just like, you have a scratch, allow me to replenish your mana. And then these healers are like, okay, dude, you can literally turn it to paste and I will still bring you back somehow.
Their overall combat ability is equal to that of an A-rank hunter, which means that
what? The S healers are as good at combat as A-rank hunters? That's crazy.
Min Byung-gyu and Akari Shimizu
Wait, is she the one that got sniped? Got off-screen murked? Oh, fuck.
Shouldn't be included in this list. Although there is a third healer called Antoine Martinez that has a rank of a national level hunter.
Oh, shit. National level is, the pinnacle of S rank, right? Like above S rank.
Exclusively revealed in the solo leveling Arise game. This
Alright.
hunter could arguably possess S rank combat abilities in addition to his busted healing powers, but due to how ambiguous this character is, it's better not to include him on this list.
Fair
The other
enough.
remaining characters are just featless with little to no statements to back them up. Unseok is an S rank hunter that died in the first attempt in trying
Alright, okay. See, dude got killed in the backstory. Obviously, we don't know where to put this guy.
to clear the island. Nothing really to compare him
He literally only exists to put trauma into the other people going on the Jeju Island raid. Like, they are only here to glaze people in the background. So yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
with the other hunters. Mari Ishida is an only webtoon character that has no information at what class she falls at or how strong she really is. Got
Alright.
completely low-diffed by Beru without even reacting, same as others.
Alright, low diff by Beru. I guess that doesn't mean anything. Beru's the Ant King, right?
Eiji Sugimoto is an S-rank hunter who became the leader of the Tro Sword Guild after the death of the previous leader Goto Ryuji. Seems to be a decision maker, and nothing suggests that him being a leader would mean he's stronger than the other S-rank hunters
Yeah, with no... Again, if there's no feats, you can't put them higher on the list. That's perfectly valid.
from Japan. And lastly but not least, the strongest hunter in Canada, Jay
No! My boy! My Canadian hunter boy! Stop!
Mills. Nothing to go off from other than this title. We don't really know the level of competition in Canada, since he could be the strongest in Canada, but
Oh god, I see that they're like trying, man.
still weaker than mid-class S-rank hunters
No! Canada, why?
from Japan, for example.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Alright.
Now, with that being said, starting off this list in low
Alright,
tier,
let's
which
go.
has the absolute weakest, at number 24 and 23, we've got Lim Taekyu and Ma Dong-wook.
Yeah, this guy kind of seemed a little bad. I'm not gonna lie, that's valid. This guy seemed a little bad.
Lim Taekyu is
Yeah, he was like kind of there, just kind of coking out when he was seeing how broken the Japanese hunters were. Yeah.
a ranger type hunter that specializes only in archery, can only work best from a distance and loses an edge in close range combat. His arrows were easily reacted to and dodged by Kinzo, Kanai and Atsushi and got completely outclassed by Hoshino. All
Yeah, wait, so let me get this straight. That dude's whole power is arrows and they can still dodge the arrows. That, yeah, oh.
class hunters from Japan, which means
Bro's like Hawkeye in the Avengers. Bro, you got like fucking, you got Thor and Hulk and then Hawkeye. And it's like, listen, they're pretty equivalent in strength. Listen, guys, he's important too.
anybody that is accustomed to close confrontations, such as fighters, rangers, and assassins, should be able to clear him with no difficulties. Ma Dong-wook, on the other hand, is a character that I like.
That guy, dude, when that guy got clobbered by the other S ranks, he was like, this is the first time in a long time I felt the ground. And meanwhile, he's like the lowest tier S rank in the actual show. Oh, man.
Very much, and can be scaled higher than this due to his vast experience and golden heart. He was the only one who wasn't really paralyzed from seeing Beru, was able to react enough to raise his shield, trying to
Oh, no. That's the best you could do, bro. The best you could do is you could be like, listen, at least he wasn't paralyzed in terror and he picked his shield up. It's like, come on, bro. Is that really like a feat we're giving him? Come on, man.
at least defend himself and was still trying to counterattack, when a character like Shahai-in, despite being stronger, was completely useless. Even after he gets healed, he goes back in action trying to attack the endgame. But despite these courageous and dependable acts, Choi stated that he wouldn't be a match for Beck if he eventually transformed, and was also defeated easily by Kinzo Tanaka. You
Yeah, he got clobbered by the Japanese hunters.
could make an argument that he would be stronger than the next characters I would be mentioning after this tier, but for now, this should be his proper placement.
Alright, valid. Low tier S ranks. Goddamn, Korea.
Now, jumping to the mid tiers, which is where things can be very interchangeable, depends on which interpretations you want to go with. At number 22 and 21, we've got Kei and Choi Jong-in.
Bro, ain't no way.
Two-
These are mid tiers? These guys are busted. Wait, hold up. Holy shit, there's no way. All right, so this guy's fire guy, this guy's ice guy, right? And they're just like insanely strong and they just clear out swaths of enemies with like their element powers. Holy shit, how is this guy mid tier? Oh my god.
class mages that has two opposite powers, which is fire and ice. You see, I would put K below Choi simply for the fact that fire should be superior to ice as it can melt it away.
Alright, Pokemon logic, I'm following.
However, I know it's
Future events are gonna make them look mid? Ain't no way, dude. Because they have no defense? Yeah, maybe.
pretty surprising for a lot of you seeing me putting Choi Jong-in so low on this list,
Yeah.
since after all, he is called Korea's ultimate hunter.
He's called the ultimate weapon, right? Holy, this guy out here violates the Geneva Convention on the daily.
But according to Jinwoo himself, when he was asked by Essel if all humans are as powerful as him in the light novel, he clearly noted that Choi in particular didn't feel that strong and was highly rated by everyone solely due to him being in charge of South Korea's top-ranked game.
No shot! No shot! Sung Jinwoo called him a Nepo baby in the novel. Oh no! Oh Lord! Oh man, that's crazy. God, he asked him in the novel and Sung Jinwoo's like, listen man, they just like him because he's in charge. He's kind of a bitch.
Although
You know what? Valid. Sung Jinwoo said it. I guess it's fact.
he obviously can't contend with the combatants who I placed higher than him and possibly even defeat them, since he has a large reserve of mana and his firepower can harm even the Ant Queen. But in a 1v1 fight, he would have a disadvantage in closer range combat and basically be vulnerable against fighters,
That's valid.
rangers, and assassins. So if you feel like Choi can compensate for that with his firepower and tactics, you can go ahead and place him much higher than this, possibly at number 16.
Yeah, I guess even though he has AoE damage, it doesn't matter if Sung Jinwoo says he's a Nepo baby.
Now at number 20, 19, 18, and 17, we've got most of the Japanese S-rank hunters,
Alright,
Aizawa, Kanai, Tatsumi, and Hoshino. So
Yeah, these guys were definitely above the cream of the crop guys that fought in the S rank thing. So yeah, no, this is so far valid.
three of these characters are fighters and one of them is an assassin, and that's the only reason I'm placing them above mages like Choi and Kei. You can also make an argument that Goto Yuji wasn't impressed by any Korean hunter except of Chai-in, so maybe he thinks that the Japanese hunters are much superior, seeing how most of
Yeah, and also this guy's pretty busted too. When he like gets into his rage form, he also gets a lot stronger.
them are composed of fighters. However, as I said before, if you think Choi specifically should be placed above them for possibly being able to hurt them before they even come close, I wouldn't be able to argue against it, since we've seen these fighters being completely helpless against Yuri Orlov, who's also a mage type hunter, but that's a character that far exceeds Choi in so many levels.
Oh my god, we're gonna be introduced to a mage that's way better than Choi. I can't even imagine the level of firepower that guy's gonna dish out. That's insane to even think about.
Now at number 16 and 15, we've got Baek Yeon-hoo and Kinzo Tanaka. These two are pretty
Alright.
self-explanatory.
Yeah, alright, valid. I do agree that these guys were stronger than the other squad, personally. Like, this guy, he ended up kind of winning his 1v1, and then he lost in a 2v1. So, I agree.
Since as I said before, if you think Choi should be above the 4 Japanese fighters, then Baek would automatically scale above them based on Jinwoo's assessment. Held his own against 2 Japanese S-rank hunters for a while, but eventually got caught and defeated. However, according to him, the difference in skill level between them was quite large, and even if he fully transformed, it wouldn't have made much of a difference.
True, however, that was a 2v1. So, again, not perfectly fair, but simultaneously, I get it.
This statement, in my opinion, is pretty vague, since we don't really know if he was talking about this on a 2v1 standpoint, or as the panel suggests, was only referring to Kinzo Tanaka.
Nah, that definitely was referring to the 2v1 for sure.
So if it's the latter, it obviously justifies why Kinzo is above all of the other hunters.
Yeah, I would have put Baek above Kenzo personally.
He also killed,
again, not the point. I'm only doing this from the lore perspective of how busted these guys are.
3 ants, each equivalent to an A-rank hunter, and still had fuel to continue if he wasn't killed by the Ant King. Certainly a very strong S-rank hunter that didn't have much screen time to truly showcase what he can do. Alright, before continuing, I wanna preference that these mid-tier hunters can be interchangeable depending on multiple factors and situations, since the next tiers contains characters that are hands down stronger than the previous combatants, and their ranking is much more solid than just relying on classes and big statements.
I'm ready.
Jumping to
Beru one-shot that guy. Bro, Beru one-shots everything while Sung Jin Woo is aura farming, okay? Shut up.
High tier hunters, which contains characters that are definitely stronger than the average S rank. At number 14,
yeah, this guy was busted when he got into rage mode. He was insanely strong. I think that's valid
got
for sure.
Enrage Atsushi Kumamoto, who I kid you not, has one single feat of outpacing and overwhelming Shanghai.
But honestly, that one feat is good enough. That one feat is enough.
In the webtoon. While surely this is an impressive feat, seeing how it required Jinwoo to jump in to save her, but it's important to understand that Shanghai In wasn't really that much worried, paired with the fact that she was actually nerfed due to not having her main weapon with her.
Alright, again,
she was
valid, but still
also inexperienced at that time, seeing as she always freezes when she gets pressured. However, she proved that she changed that flaw when she fought with Shadow Beru later in the story. This and many other statements and feats such as overpowering Igris, who was an elite knight comparable to S-rank.
What? She beats Igris? Oh, damn!
And being praised by both Kotor Yuji and Jinwoo himself should justify putting her at number 13. Putting Atsushi above Shanghai In due to one exchange in a sparring session when she doesn't have her weapon and can't use
I think that's very valid.
her sword dance ability that heavily increases her precision and speed just doesn't
so she's a swordsman. You fought a swordsman without a sword. Hey, come on, man.
make any sense, since when she got serious against Igris, even Jinwoo thought that his shadow would need the Demon King's sword and he still lost against her regardless.
I mean, look, I know we're all like, whoa, she beat Igris? That's crazy. But you realize Igris is just one of his fucking metric fuck ton of shadow soldiers. Like, that really is not a big deal. Like, that's nothing, man.
So number 13 should be sold to Shanghai In.
Igris beat her a few times before she beat him? Oh, well.
Number 12, however, we've got Huang.
No! This guy's better than Cha? Remember when Cha entered the game with a pickaxe as a weapon? Yeah, I remember. This guy's better? This guy got low diffed off screen by Sung Jin Woo's dad. And wow, dude, that's crazy.
Dong-Soo, and I'm sure this would be a surprise to a lot of people in the solo leveling community. You see, this character reminds me a lot of Jogo from Tsukaisen.
True, bro got Joe goated. Bro got annihilated.
Manga. Too strong compared to other characters, but ends up only fighting the strongest and looking less impressive. This is exactly the same case that's going on for Dong-Soo.
Dude, Dong-Soo got fucking Jogoed. That's crazy.
Since he was manhandled by Il Huang and later killed by Jinwoo. However,
what a loser. What a loser.
Don't be tricked into thinking this would make him a weak hunter. Remember that the US government carefully picks strong hunters to make them an offer to join their country, and not only Dong-Soo was chosen, but was one of the few hunters who received a 20 to 30% boost from Madame Silner. This made him the ace scavenger of the best hunter guild in the entire world, working
Damn, that's high praise for sure.
Directly under the strongest national level hunter, Thomas Andre. You can also tell how strong he is based on the grade he received upon becoming a shadow soldier.
Dude, the fucking manga's crazy. Wait, they build him up as being like a giant threat. They build him up as being a monster, and bro literally, revives him from the dead after God, I love Sung. Oh my god, it's just so badass, it's insane. His entire storyline was just built up to give Sung Jin Woo one nice big glaze before he became a lobotomized puppet.
Becoming commander aka general, which is the same rank Beru attained after reawakening. This doesn't
honestly that is valid. That just goes to show that he's kind of strong. It doesn't mean he's stronger than Beru, but it means he's in the same class as him.
Doesn't necessarily mean he was as strong as Beru when he was alive, since Jinwoo later became much more proficient in reviving prior to attaining grade, resulting in reviving him at full power. However, shadows of this grade are strong enough to contend with advanced S-rank hunters such as Kotor Yuji. So this should give you an idea how strong Dong-Soo was when he was alive.
Oh my god, Sung Jin Woo, someone in my chat just told me, Sung Jin Woo apparently said to him after manhandling him, He said, "Not even death will save you from me." And then he murders him and revives his shadow. Oh, Lord. Oh, that's what he gets for this motherfucker stalking him for like the first 2 seasons of the anime.
Putting him above Chahai N.
Alright,
Now
valid.
jumping to the next stage, which I call near national level hunters tier,
Okay.
contains characters that narratively has the potential to become national level hunters, or at least should be considerably stronger than the rest of the S rank hunters.
Alright,
Starting
valid.
at number 11 and 10,
Yeah, I don't know this guy.
we have Yuri Orlov and Goto Ryuji.
Oh shit, Goto Ryuji. Yeah, I mean he is the top hunter in Japan, right? Like or it was, but he was the top hunter in Japan, so obviously gotta respect him.
Yuri Orlov is considered to be the best support mage hunter in the entire world, was easily able to restrict 2 Japanese S-rank hunters and practically rendering them useless. His specialty relies on emitting barriers that can block gates, restrict hunters, and defend himself and others against any threats. As for Goto Ryuji, he is straight up the strongest hunter in Japan, and some would even say that he was approaching the national level hunters tier.
Damn.
Although Beru proved the
Yeah,
invalidity of that claim by easily decapitating him, but
Oh my god, dude, Beru's a fucking monster.
the truth be told that he was the only hunter other than Jinwoo that managed to block 1 single attack from the Ant King. However, between
Like, I love how we use this as like some sort of flex. It's like, ugh, he was able to block a single attack from the guy that got walloped by fucking Jinwoo. I didn't watch that episode of the anime yet, but like, I know it's coming, alright? Listen, I'm not an idiot. I know it's happening.
him and Yuri Orlov, I'd say that their fight would most unlikely end up in a stalemate, with giving a slight edge to Ryuji being an experienced, well-seasoned fighter. Since Orlov excels at defensive abilities, and when his barrier broke against the giant, he didn't try to fight back or counterattack, while Goto is a well-rounded fighter that is accustomed to pressured situations. So whether you want to put Ryuji above Orlov or the other way around, it's perfectly fine. At number 9, we've got the strongest hunter in Germany and
Alright, don't know.
the 12th in the
I assume the rest of the people on this list are gonna be the like characters that only exist in the manga. Or the chairman. I forgot about the chairman.
world, Leonard Nierman, the only hunter other than the national level hunters to sense the presence of Jinwoo's massive army of shadows concealed inside his shadows.
Ooh, interesting. Alright.
Something not
Even Goto Ryuji couldn't sense them. Okay, alright. I guess, yeah, that puts him 1 tier above Goto.
even Goto Ryuji was able to do. He was also capable of pushing back Rakon in his partially transformed state to save Thomas Andre, a feat that none of the previous hunters we've mentioned so far can ever dream to do. Alright, now the top 8 characters we're going to be mentioning now are considered to being the strongest for 2 various reasons.
Alright.
Number 1, being vessels or possessing powers from the rulers
Vessels?
who are an ancient race of angelic warriors.
Whoa! Lore drop! Lore drop! The solo left. Now we're gonna finally understand what the system is all about, sort of. I mean, obviously he's not gonna explain it, but apparently dudes have, these are characters that have extra broken abilities that they've awakened with or reawakened with. Oh shit! Hell yeah! This gets explained after the Beru arc. I guess we have to wait however many fucking years for the next season. Heavenly beings give their powers to certain hunters. Okay.
And number 2, being
This is crazy spoilers. Yeah, it's crazy spoilers. If you want to leave, you could leave if you want. I don't care. I know that it's gonna be like 5 years until the next fucking season of solo leveling, and I am more than happy to hear what these monarchs are.
able to contend or fight with the monarch at some extent. So at number 8, we've got the chairman of the
No way. This dude is also one of those monarch people.
Hunter Association, Go Gun Hee. You see, Go Gun Hee is ranked this high for obviously being a vessel for a ruler. With this, he was able to fight and slightly contend with the monarch of Frost Selad for a short period of time, but
Damn.
ultimately lost due to being trapped inside the broken medium, meaning a restricted body. This feat of fighting against the monarch far exceeds anything the previous hunters has done, justifying putting him at this specific
That's valid, bro. That's a higher level than anything we've
level.
seen.
At number 7, we've got the strongest
This guy! Come on!
hunter in Brazil, Jonas, and ranked number 6 in the entire world. Narratively speaking, the only characters that exceeds this hunter are national level hunters, and it's vaguely unknown why this character isn't already considered as one, since he's also a vessel for a ruler, and maybe the character was just never interested in that position. But
Interesting. So again, another broken character, the top hunter in Brazil.
bottom line, he actually got off-screen by monarchs who attacked
Why are they killing these goated people off screen? It's all to glaze Sung Jin-woo. That's what it's all about.
Him before he'd have the chance to.
He was found in the vicinity of... The first news item was about Brazil's greatest hunter, Jonas, being found on the vicinity of a river as a corpse. Oh, man. Oh, man.
The reason he is above Gogan Hee is simply for the fact that he is just the same as him, but much younger.
Yeah,
However,
valid.
if you feel like we should be putting somebody who showcased real feats and statements above the other who got off-screen with no visual demonstrations, then it's also completely fine. I just feel like being number 6 in the world right behind the national level hunters should count for something.
All right, so moving on. Now we're at the national level hunters, the top 6, right? Wait, the top 5. Wait, and Sung Jin-woo! Wait, what the fuck? Wait, we didn't mention Sung Jin-woo yet.
Alright, now jumping to the next stage, which is the national level hunters tier. Obviously includes hunters who can rival a nation's entire military in strength, and each one of them borrows powers from the rulers. Well, except for Antoine Martinez, who we agreed we're not gonna be scaling in this video. So at number 6, 5, 4, and 3, we've got Siddharth Pakshan, Christopher Reed, Leo Chogang, and the Goliath Thomas Andre.
God damn!
These 4 characters from a narrative standpoint are considered to being relative to each other, and if one is stronger than the other, it should be by a slight amount. Siddharth, the 4th ranked in the world, was only mentioned and never displayed any feats or statements in the novel or the webtoon, but can be seen in one of the Arts of Solo Leveling Arise game, fighting alongside the other national level hunters.
Yeah, so the national level hunters are just like, they're an insane level. They're just like literally above everyone else.
Christopher Reed is ranked number 3 and was eventually killed by the monarchs inside his own mansion. Should be.
Oh my god! These monarchs are a crazy threat! Hold up! They beat a national level hunter?
Able to at least contend, but not to the point of besting a monarch. As for Leo Chogang and Thomas Andre, it should be
I
pretty
assume that's the strongest hunter in China and the strongest hunter in America.
self-explanatory, seeing how the American was able to fight against base Rakon and eventually pushed him to partially transform.
Damn, that's crazy.
Rakon himself stated
Alright, so I guess the top 2 are gonna be Jin-woo and his dad.
that he could feel victory slipping through his fingers. But same as the other national level hunters, despite being able to contend for a brief time, there's absolutely no way they can best a monarch with merely being vessels and not the real thing. Which brings us to number 2 and the second strongest hunter in the world, which is Sun Jin.
Monarchs are just fundamentally stronger than hunters.
Whose father, Sun Il-hwan. This character,
he's no shit, Dong Suk or whatever his name is, got manhandled. Oh my god.
was able to fight against 2 monarchs in their spiritual body form.
Dude, when I say that solo leveling exists only to glaze this guy, I was not exaggerating even a little bit. So let me get this straight. Everyone is sitting there glazing the #1 guy in America for being the strongest hunter, and he lost a fight to a monarch. This guy fought 2 monarchs at the same time. Oh my lord!
Stalling them for a while and inflicting considerable damage. A feat that far outclasses even Thomas Andre,
Yo, this isn't just a little flex, this is fucking insane!
who couldn't even match with Rakon in his partially transformed
Bro.
state. Sun Il-hwan is obviously this strong for being a vessel for a ruler, overexerting himself in battle to save his son, resulting in him disintegrating just shortly after.
#1, Sung Jin-woo. That's crazy. He didn't win. He fought 2 at the same time! There he is. There's our goat! Oh, lord! From weakest to strongest. He doesn't even mention him. He doesn't even talk about him. He doesn't even talk about him. He's just like, yeah. He's the Shadow Monarch. Obviously, he's stronger. Holy shit. This entire story really is just kind of built to glaze this fucking man. This monster. Yeah, that's him. The Shadow Monarch. God damn. I guess that's the major spoiler for way later in the manhwa, that this guy is a monarch. Yeah, look, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. Holy, she really is on a level. He is on a whole ass other level above everyone, and it never stops. Dude literally is the daddy of solo leveling. Holy shit. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I was expecting him to be like #2, at least some sort of No. He's the Shadow Monarch. He's #1. He's the GOAT. He's just the GOAT, the end. He's the GOAT, the end. And we are going to witness his GOATness. Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed. If you like this, let me know. We will do other anime lore dive things as well. This was every S rank. Definitely check out Yassine. You did a good video, honestly. Put it together very nicely. Hell yeah. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Daily uploads on Taku daily. All right, bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.